Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I'm Ryan Murray, the Associate Conductor for your Modesto Symphony and your host for the evening. Tonight's recital featuring Julian Schwarz is part of our monthly MSO at Home series, and so far we've featured concertmaster Dan Flanagan, MSO pianist John Hillebrandt, and last month we put the spotlight on our youth orchestra. October usually marks the start of our classics series, so we thought we'd bring a guest artist on to perform. And I'm very happy to introduce Julian Schwarz and Marika Bernacki. Some of you may remember Julian from when he performed the Boccherini Cello Concerto with the MSO back in 2014, and we're thrilled to have both of them here with us tonight. Julian and Marika are recently married, and how great is it to be able to make music with your partner during this time of isolation? And I know we're all really excited about the program that they've prepared. And we're going to start the program tonight with that cello and piano classic, Beethoven's Piano and Cello Sonata in D major, Opus 102. And that will be followed by Erich Korngold's Much Ado About Nothing, Opus 11. We hope you enjoy it. Well, thank you so much, Julian and Marika, for being here tonight. Such wonderful pieces to start your program, and some really great contrasts, too. And how wonderful to be able to make music together as a married couple. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your musical work together?
Hey, thanks so much for having us tonight, Brian. I mean, we're very lucky that not only, of course, are we recently married, but we have this amazing collaboration as artists, and that doesn't always happen in relationships like that. And so throughout the pandemic, being able to play with each other, and over the years, I think we've played over 150 concerts together by my tally, and that's a lot. And we're still growing with each other and still fostering this creative collaboration. And we won a competition together a few years ago, and that led to more performances. And so it's been a highlight of my artistic life to play with Marika, and it's a lot of fun.
It's my favorite thing artistically to play with Julian, to create that.
That's so great. That is so great. So do you always get along perfectly as far as phrasing and tempi and things like that?
You know, a lot of our rehearsals are without any talking whatsoever.
Yeah.
And there are a couple pieces, none that we featured tonight on the recital, that have had long and I guess
passionate
and current arguments about certain ways to phrase things, and we're mainly on the same page.
Yes.
And then there are these precise
micro movements of pieces, or and yeah, we disagree a little bit, but I think that's good also.
But we're both very passionate. So, you know, over breakfast and lunch and dinner, and then the next day we're trying to reconcile these things. And sometimes we've actually performed a piece at a concert how she wanted, and also performed how I wanted the next week. And
sometimes you don't even realize that you did what I wanted to do, and you think it's super good.
All right, well.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
So I think you've got a really exciting program here. You want to tell us a little bit about how you put it together?
Well, I mean, it all started when you and I chatted on the phone, Ryan, and it was really nice. I mean, for a lot of the virtual concerts we've done, it's been, hey, give us a program and just do it. But I felt like we actually had a collaboration on the phone. You told me what the Modesto Symphony Orchestra audience wanted to hear and the type of music that might be interesting. And of course, you gave me a time limit, but you said as much variety as possible. So we have 30 minutes to put in as much variety as possible. It's quite a task, and that's right up our alley, because we love showing different aspects of our playing, also different styles of music. Mm-hmm. And as we were talking about the other day, it's easy for us to just play a 30-minute sonata, let's say by Brahms. And let's say one of your audience members doesn't care for Brahms. It's hard to imagine, but and then they would be listening to something that was sort of one-dimensional in that way. So we wanted to take snippets of pieces, some of our favorite movements, half fast, half slow, some romantic, some classical. I mean, you heard the Beethoven, which we must include this year, we think, because of his anniversary, and so many concerts have been canceled, unfortunately. But then we have the cinematic influence of Korngold, and then we have the romanticism of Brahms, the sort of the tone poem of Bloch, a sweet piece by Coleridge-Taylor, and the Debussy Sonata, which shows this French influence and a very, very engaging and interesting sonata. So we have sort of as much as we could pack in, we packed in for the Modesto Symphony.
Oh, that's great. It's a fabulous program. And so up next is the Bloch Meditation and the Brahms Scherzo. Do you want to give our audience a little hint at what to listen for in these pieces coming up?
Well, the Bloch is one of our favorite pieces to play because it's like a miniature tone poem. So if you think about these great orchestral stories like Heldenleben of Strauss, or even the one by Bloch, the Shlomo, that is a sort of a Hebraic rhapsody for cello and orchestra. These are tone poems on a grand scale that tell a story. So if you take one of those grand tone poems, put it on a small scale for cello and piano, and make it about 5 minutes, this is what you're going to hear, and it really takes you on a journey from intense emotion to even joy, and then brings you back, and it's almost like the story of a life, I think. I mean, this is all coming from our own take on it. And the Brahms Scherzo is just very, very passionate, very driving, and something that, of course, we'll talk probably later on about my fascination with stealing violin repertoire. But that's originally a piece for violin that I as was the Korngold. So, yeah.
Great. Well, thanks. Well, we look forward to hearing these. Well, I really enjoyed that great performance. It's been so nice to sit here and listen to these wonderful pieces. And I'm going to ask you the question that I've asked all of our guests so far, and that's, what's life been like for you these days as a performer, and what kind of projects have you both been working on?
Well, I mean, for us, it's nice to be able to sort of collaborate in our living room and to be able to play with each other. So many artists have had to rely on just working with themselves and working with their solo works. So that's been fun. Doing a lot of virtual concerts, and which we're so happy to be doing in the absence of what we love the most, which is reaching audiences in person. But of course, for me, I've done. I'm also a teacher, and so my commitment to my teaching has, I guess, intensified. It's always been a huge part of my life, but now that artistically, that's sort of most gratifying to just delve into these great works with my students. That's really sustained my creative juices as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, and to echo you also, just it's so important to keep music alive. So I'm so thankful that you guys and so many organizations, orchestras are making content for their audiences. And for us, I mean, you're keeping us alive too. This is such a treat for us to make this recital. So we're so happy and so grateful. As a pianist, not performing, I've had a lot of time to practice, and the piano repertoire is so vast. So I've been delving in more repertoire. And on a different note a little bit, because of course our activities have slowed down. So on a more personal note, for us, the slower pace has given us an opportunity to do a few big steps as a young couple. So actually we got married in May, and we had been dating for many years and engaged for a couple, and we just never could get married because we could never commit to a date, because we would always say yes to concerts and we didn't know what was going to happen. So we just never set a date. So we got married on May 5th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that's another crazy story, but for another time or later. And we also just got our first house and moved in 2 of our apartments into one house. And so that's also been a big step for us, and we're really excited. And
all the things we never had any time to do.
Yeah.
And you start thinking about big decisions when you are not busy flying around and playing around all the time. And it's been actually a very special time for us.
Well, that's so great. That is just fabulous. So next on the program is Debussy, and I love Debussy, and we talked a little bit about how Debussy is one of the kind of keys to the 20th century, and showed composers how they could go from Romanticism through kind of whole tone scales and this kind of pointillistic approach and get into the 20th century. And this is later in Debussy's life, and it has some really interesting qualities. Maybe you want to tell us about that.
Yeah, well, this is another, I mean, it's like every piece we talk about is one of our favorite pieces. That's because we picked a lot of our favorite pieces. Why not? I mean, for your audience. I think for this sonata, we chose to do the second and third movements, which go into each other without pause. So the first movement might be what you would normally associate with Debussy and more traditional to his language. But the second and third movements are, I think, forward-looking. This was, as you mentioned, one of the last pieces he wrote in 1915, and I think he's looking toward a style of music where, I guess in this day and age, it would be short attention span. And there's an account of Debussy describing the second movement as being a take on Commedia dell'arte, the Italian drama style, where there are sharp entrances and exits, and it's all based on character. So it will be you'll hear us trying to create a character, and then 5 bars later or 5 seconds later, completely different character, someone else at a different pace, different tempo, different dynamic, different color. And we're trying to do that in total simpatico, which is really, really fun, but also very difficult because we have to change on a dime at all times, and we have to, there's no slowing down into a tempo or speeding up into a tempo. It's immediate changes that sort of imitate this kind of this ever-changing character, and it's very demanding and very fun.
Yeah, we get to surprise each other because we're playing all these roles, and we're playing with rubato and dynamic, and so we always have to be listening to each other. And that's why I love playing with you, is because you never know what's gonna really happen. So
and for this recital, we really recorded it as a recital. and we didn't.
Yeah.
We performed. We didn't do things multiple times. So whatever we did in that moment is what you'll hear.
That's great. I mean, I think that's one of the great things about some of the older recordings too, right? It's just get in the room and make a take, and it's like a delayed live performance, right?
It's
And
honest.
that's really exciting.
It's really honest, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I can't wait to hear it. Well, I'm sad to say that we've come to the final piece of the program. I've just really enjoyed being here with you tonight and listening to all this music. And can you tell us a bit about the final piece that you're playing today?
Yes. The final piece is by Samuel Coleridge-Taylor, who's a wonderful English composer, and he wrote a set of African dances, which I heard back in May, and I really wanted to transcribe the second, the Andantino. We were in the process of creating a concert, a virtual album with lyrical encore type pieces, all slow, a lot of love songs, a lot of well-known pieces, and this just really caught my attention. Mm-hmm. And though it's not originally for cello, I do love playing just the best stuff that I can get my hands on, and sometimes that's cello music and sometimes it's not, and so I make a lot of transcriptions, and they're not, I mean, you calling them transcriptions, I basically just play the piece. Mm-hmm. You know, and you can do it by ear, or you can just read the violin part or the clarinet part or whatever, the horn part. Done a lot of different things like that. And so this, I think, works beautifully on the cello. And it's become a favorite, a little encore piece of ours.
Yeah, and we wanted to leave everybody on a sweet note. Again, our recent wedding and just the love of playing together. So we hope you guys enjoy it.
That's so great. It's really fun to take these pieces and just, like you say, play the best music that you can find. And, you know, I'm a bassoonist, and so last month on our live stream, I played some of Schumann's Dixerliebe on the bassoon, which I understand that Julian sings through that from time to time.
Well, I mean, it's
a guilty pleasure. So.
No, it's when you said that you were playing on the bassoon. I mean, that's just it's phenomenal. It's the greatest. Yeah. That song cycle of Schumann's is so hauntingly beautiful. And talk about quarantine life. We were singing through song cycles, and I was singing through song cycles, and she was humoring me. We were playing four-hand piano music, and we were delving into other repertoire. And as she indulges my singing, not nearly like yours, Ryan.
Beautiful voice, yeah, right, a very beautiful voice, and you sound very beautifully, and so that's it's like this is true.
That's very nice.
That's so great.
It was like old-fashioned entertainment for ourselves.
Absolutely, yeah,
absolutely. And then we have a house, so we can do it late at night without any shame. Right? Yeah, it's really fun.
Well, that's great. I know we're all looking forward to hearing this Coleridge-Taylor piece.
Thank you.
Well, thank you both again so much for being here tonight. And thank you, everyone in the audience, for joining us and watching this recital. It was so fun to hear you play and get to chat with you this evening.
Thanks so much for having us. It's a real pleasure.
And we'd like to thank all of our season partners and donors. We wouldn't be able to have these virtual events without all of your support. And if you're interested in learning how to support the MSO and future virtual events, please visit modestosymphony.org/support. You can help us keep these events free and help keep the arts alive in our community. And join us on November 18th for the Modesto Symphony Youth Orchestra's first concert of the season. We're playing some really great pieces, the Carmen First Suite. The concert orchestra is playing an arrangement of Pachelbel Canon and a piece called Alla Mariachi. And it's going to be a great concert featuring some young soloists as well. And that's going to kick off the MSYO's 45th season. So I hope you'll join us for that on November 18th. And lastly, thank you to everyone watching at home. We hope you enjoyed the program, and we'd love to hear from you. We have a very short survey that is linked in the description and will be posted in the chat. So have a great rest of your evening, stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks again.